Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. I have an episode review for a book I just uploaded a review for called Vampire Breath. It is Season 2, Episode 17, and it premiered on November 23rd of 1996, about 22 minutes long. It's only a single, standalone episode, not a two-parter. I watched it in my bootleg box set of Goosebumps stuff. Yeah, this is the TV show. I didn't know it was a bootleg, and I bought a bootleg. Anyway, I like the episode overall. I think a lot of things are done better than in the book. I think the book does some things a lot better than the episode does. Very interesting. Of course, I was very kind of mixed a little bit because of the ending of the book. And a couple of things like the features of the vampire breath from the actual book. There's like a tapping noise over here. I don't know what that is. I guess somebody's walking upstairs. I don't know. I really dug this episode. I thought it had a lot to offer. Very fun, enjoyable story. I think it was kind of... some odd twists and a lot more humor in here than I expected, which really kind of hit me a little bit better than the actual book did. I kind of went into this episode thinking that if it's identical to the book, which it kind of is, for the most part, except for the very, very ending, it has like a little thing tapped on to the original book ending, which was kind of cute and kind of funny. I kind of went into this episode thinking, okay, if it's exactly like the book and a direct adaptation, 100%, then it won't be that bad, and I think the ending of that book that kind of ruins the book will be fine for a TV episode, because the Goosebumps TV show is so much more corny and cheesy compared to the actual books, in my opinion, that they're typically based on. So to have kind of a... sorry, I have kind of a sore throat. To have kind of an episode that's based on a cheesier book and having kind of a cheesier ending, I figured it would work better in the episode overall, like I said. And Ron Oliver directed this, and surprisingly, he did a really good job with this, as he always does. That's not a big surprise, it's a joke. Let's see, let's look up some of Ron Oliver's Goosebumps stuff, because I want to show you all the big stuff he did for Goosebumps to really give you an idea. I think I recently watched one of his episodes too, and I talked about this there too, because the guy's done incredible work. I mean, he worked on Are You Afraid of the Dark and so many other things out there. Alright, we have Welcome to Camp Nightmare Part 1 and Part 2, Night of the Living Dummy 2, Say Cheese and Die, Let's Get Invisible, Vampire Breath, of course, How to Kill a Monster, The Perfect School Part 1 and Part 2, Werewolf Skin Part 1 and Part 2, Say Cheese and Die, again, How I Got My Shrunken Head Part 1 and Part 2, that's what I reviewed recently from him, and Cry of the Cat Part 1 and Part 2. Ron Oliver's behind a lot of stuff in Goosebumps. He's one of the major proponents of this show being as successful as it was, in my opinion, just up there with Timothy Bond and, is it William Forte? What's that guy's name? I'm sorry, I'm having a blank right now. I'm not feeling good because of my allergies, and I'm just out of it today. I can't memorize anything I'm trying to remember. So the two main kids, Freddie and Kara, are no longer just two friends like they were in the book. They're now brother and sister. Okay, whatever, Rick Drew, who wrote this. That's fine. So they're brother and sister now. Their parents are leaving for the night. They're going to go through the house in the night. Yes, it's nighttime, dark and stormy night, a lot of rain and thunder, and I really like that. I like the new music they did for this episode as well. It was very odd having kind of like the Rockabye Baby theme thrown at the end of the episode. I thought that was kind of interesting with what happens there. I won't spoil that for you if you haven't seen it. But, yeah. A lot of little twists on the Goosebumps music and themes and stuff. It was kind of fun. But there's a guy running down the path. What in the world? I'm sorry. Sorry. So the brother and sister are also named Renfield at the end of this book. Or at the end of the episode, we realize that their names are Renfield, which is interesting with the twists and whatnot. I really dig that. And I hope I didn't give away too much saying twist. It's really not what you think it is if you haven't seen or read the book and episode. So, yeah. Their last names are Renfield, just like Renfield, the assistant from the Bram Stoker Dracula novel, which is kind of cool. These two are snooping for their birthday presents. They're about to turn 13, I think, at midnight that night. It's going to be their birthday. And they're looking around for their presents while their parents are out. And they end up going down to the basement. They find a box on one of the shelves of a cabinet, and they try to get onto that. Freddy almost gets crushed by that. And, of course, Kara pulls him out of the way. And the bookshelf falls down. They happen to find a really nice kind of old-style door in the basement wall. And they open it up and start kind of going down through here. There's tunnels. And they have torches in the side of the walls, and he picks those up and they walk down this hallway all the way down to another little area that happens to have a coffin inside of it. And they also find a bottle inside of the room too, and they see that coffin and try to walk away from it. And they find a bottle that's labeled Vampire Breath. It's a very cool, kind of triangular looking bottle with like a blue liquid inside of it. And when they open it, there wasn't as much emphasis here as there was in the actual book about how bad this vampire breath smells, for whatever reason. But the bottle opens up, it gets out of there, goes into the coffin, and then the vampire comes out of it. Out of the coffin, I mean, not out of the bottle. Maybe he came out of the bottle, I don't know. But anyway, the vampire is called Count Nightwing. He is played by Earl Pastico, and I thought he was, or Pasco. Pasco? Yeah, Pasco. I really thought he was doing something special here. I really liked him. However, I cannot tell if somebody else's voice was dubbed over top of him or what. He's clearly being dubbed, where somebody's speaking the words and they're putting it over his mouth. I don't really know if that's his voice or not. I don't know. So I couldn't tell really what it was with him. But I liked Count Nightwing even more here than I did in the book. I thought in the book he was kind of threatening and kind of a very Dracula type of character. And here, he is kind of scary, a little bit. I kind of enjoy him. Now in the book, he is more of a Nosferatu type. He looks and sounds just like Nosferatu the way he speaks. Of course, Nosferatu was a silent film, so you don't really know. That's one of the first ever adaptations of Bram Stoker's Dracula, in case you don't know. That's before the Bela Lugosi film. Nosferatu is terrifying, so I figured that they were trying to go for that route. However, Are You Afraid of the Dark may or may not, before this, have done their own adaptation of some kind of vampire story. I forgot what it was. But they had their own Nosferatu knockoff there that looks just like Nosferatu. And they didn't get in trouble for that either, because it's public domain. So that was kind of cool to see that in Are You Afraid of the Dark, but here I kind of figured they'd do the same thing, since, again, it's public domain. I guess they didn't want to get confused with Are You Afraid of the Dark, or ask somebody to shave their head or whatever, because Nosferatu is bald and Count Nightwing in the book is bald. This particular guy playing Dracula, or playing Count Nightwing, is really solid. I like the kind of charm to him. I like the 5 o'clock shadow he has going on. That's kind of fun. The dubbed lines really take me out of the episode sometimes. I don't know why they chose to do that. I guess it's just an issue with lines, or I don't know, maybe they didn't like his voice. I don't know, but it seems to me like the voice suits that guy as an actor, so I assume that it's his voice. They just told him to redub his lines. I don't know. I don't know why I'm so hooked up on that. It's just, it bothers me. When it's obvious, it really gets to me. So anyway, the kids are trying to run away from Count Nightwing. He tells them that even though he doesn't have fangs, he needs their help, and he basically tries to lock them into the basement with him to go find the vampire breath bottle. And that's kind of where I want to stop telling you too much. There's some other things in here I'd like to discuss, sort of, kind of, like, for example, in the book, Count Nightwing can fly, and here he cannot. He's very slow, and that's a shame. There's also, like, a thing added in here that's not in the book. It's kind of almost like a partial amusement park ride, and it was great. It was so great. I loved watching that. That was really fun for a 90s kids show. This episode has a decent budget, mostly from what I've seen from Goosebumps. When you have a 22-minute long episode, just a standalone episode, not a two-parter, you typically have a very low budget that has next to nothing to do with it, no special effects or anything. This has a solid budget for it. It seems like they really tried their best. Ron Oliver really put some effort into here to make something really nice, and I enjoyed that, even though the amusement park thing makes no sense when you think about why it would be there to begin with, you know? So there are some complaints. This episode is not perfect, but it's fun, and that's really what matters to me with Goosebumps. I talk about this all the time on my channel. I prefer to have a fun time than a bad time, or a overly thought-out, complex bad time, you know, with something I kind of put on myself sometimes. I really enjoyed it. I think it's a really good episode, really fun episode. The sets and everything look great. There's like a matte painting at one point. That looks pretty cool, in my opinion. I'm very impressed with what Ron Oliver was able to get away with here and do on this episode. It was fun. Now, getting to the finale, the last thing to really talk about, without going too in-depth, because I'm not going to talk about spoilers, the ending is pretty much identical to the book. I do not like the ending of the book. I think it kind of ruins it a little bit, kind of like with Slappy's Nightmare and Monster Blood is Back. It's like that final chapter kind of ruins everything the book had going for it. It doesn't kill it for me, it just kind of, you know, it's not really the best. So that's still here. That's still here. However, they added a little thing onto the end that made that goofy, stupid ending a little bit more tolerable. Does that make sense? I guess Ron Oliver read the book and had a little bit of the same feeling I had, even though Rick Drew wrote the episode. I feel like Ron Oliver also has to be familiar with the material that he adapts for the most part. So I think that he and Rick Drew added on that last little thing after they come back from a commercial break to really kind of make it a little bit more tolerable. And in my opinion, it worked. I don't know how or why, but it did. Again, the episode's very atmospheric. I really like the guy playing Count Nightwing. I think he's kind of scary, honestly. I like certain little things here and there. They change from the book. And again, some things are done at a fault. You know, it's got its flaws. But overall, I think it's really solid. I think it's an enjoyable read or watch, a good viewing. I had a good time with the book, but I think I had a better time watching the episode, honestly. It's not very often that I say that, because usually the episodes that are kind of standalone, 22-minute long episodes, they typically are not as strong because of the lower budget. And the books, whereas, are very imaginative. They don't have to have a budget. They're just books. You imagine what happens. Usually I'm on the side of the books, and I'm kind of surprised. I think I'm more on the episode side this time around, even though I think the book itself has more of an atmosphere that works in a creepy, eerie fashion, until that last chapter that basically ruins it. The ending works better in a Goosebumps episode, and that's kind of proven here with how it goes. So even so, what did you guys think about the episode Vampire Breath? Did you love this? Did you hate the book? Let me know all that down in the comment section down below. It seemed to me that this was always the lowest rated of Goosebumps books and episodes and stuff. I looked on IMDb, this has like an 8 out of 10 star rating, which is really high for anything on IMDb at all. Movie-wise, book-wise, anything. I think Dark Knight, one of the most perfect and great movies of all time, has like an 8.2 out of 10. That's a pretty high episode rating for a small community. Even so, I enjoy the episode. I had a good time with it. I think it's a really fun time. It's not perfect. It has some really cool stuff in here that really would appeal, I think, to most kids and teenagers, even adults, too, because of the fun time that you can have here. The two main lead kids are not very good at acting. Neither are the parents. I swear to God, I know the mom from something. I looked on her IMDb page. I can't really see what I would know her from. Maybe she just has the hair. I'm one of those types, too, that I don't really see people's faces well. I see their hair type and the shape of their head and stuff, their body types, before I realize what their face looks like. It's a real thing in psychology, and I swear I'm one of those people. My mom is one of those people, too. So I'm more than convinced that I've seen that mom somewhere, but I don't think I have, because her IMDb page doesn't say that. Not that everything is always logged the way it should be, but still. Yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts. I don't really have anything else to say. Yeah. When it comes to Vampire Breath, if I had to rate this book, or this episode, excuse me, on a 5-star basis, I think I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars. It's pretty solid, pretty fun, enjoyable read, or for the second time now. It's a good, fun, enjoyable watch. You can have a good time with this. I kind of recommend to get into the atmosphere and the feeling of this. It's one of those things, you have those certain episodes you watch at Halloween time, like Haunted Mask 1 and 2, or the summertime episodes for me, like Not a Living Dummy 3, which I love at summertime. I think it's just something about that just screams and feels of summer. People wearing shorts, the way outside looks in that episode. It just looks like it'd be pollination, you know? Kind of spring/summer, somewhere in there. Anyway, this is one of those ones that you should watch at a dark and stormy night. If you have like lightning and stuff, or if you just want to watch it really late at nighttime during the summer or something, this would be great for that. You'd really enjoy this, or you can watch it during the fall. You'd have a good time with that too for Halloween time. I enjoyed it a lot. Anyway, what did you guys think about it? Put your thoughts and comments on this and the book down in the comment section down below. I am so sorry for being so off and just all over the place today with my allergies and stuff. I just feel completely out of it, dude. Completely out of it. Anyway, thank you for watching once again. Thank you for tolerating my nasally voice this time around. My sore throat. Anyway, thank you guys. God bless you. Goodbye.